Hey folks, it's I2I35 aka Josiah David, and welcome to another episode of the Correcting SolRosenberg84 series. And nothing says quite like responding to a rude, depraved, cantankerous brother who's attended a lot of liberal biased classrooms of pro-New World Order public schools, which really instills an attitude of I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I'm right, you're wrong, screw you, stuff like that. Which is nothing but just 200 years behind in science, and I don't want anyone to act like I'm not allowed to make these responses. Hey, if I find something wrong, I'm going to correct it whether you like it or not. And I'm going to say again, Mike, or SolRosenberg84, you can't defend a dying, depressing, degenerating, dangerous, deceitful, fallacious, erroneous, cult of personality worldview. And this one is called Answers for Subscribers number 2, and I'm just going to go over the highlighted points because everything else just seems pointless and silly. I just have to say that because responding to the questions of, God and stuff, I say with the other questions, he just, fools around with. Well, when it comes to God, he really, really gets it wrong, and I just have to. He needs a better education than this, but I'll just go ahead with it. Go on.
Do you think that science provides a replacement for religion, and eventually it might pull in the religious crowd by looking like the hand of God?
I dare have to say that, what about the religions of Hinduism and Buddhism, which superstitiously teach that the earth is held up by a turtle, or by a bull, or by a fish, or by some weird man with on a man's shoulder? I mean, that is so insane that why don't you properly answer or respond to those things? I mean, especially Islam, which teaches that the sun sets in a pond of murky water, or contradictorily teaches that the earth is flat, or that it's rounded like an egg. The Bible got it right when it talked about the earth being circle-shaped, or all this other scientific things about the Coriolis effect, or about lightning, or about life being in the blood and such. The Bible got all these scientific claims right, or about paths in the seas, which talks about the currents.
And I don't think that entire crowd is ever going to understand that until they get their heads out of the sand and they start looking at it and going, okay, maybe there's something to this. If you want to look at nature and you want to say that's the supporting hand of some intelligence, that's cool, but when you want to try and dilute that down to an institution which is just checked, then you're a fucking idiot. That's all I gotta say.
If you're talking about intelligent design, that's research, bro. There's complete research that it's a logical claim that things are so complex that it can only be explained by intelligence, okay? Saying, oh, you want to put this stuff into a institution and teach it, like, why not? It's a new scientific discovery, I'm telling you. Science, if you want to say that science brings us ahead in technology, I'm going to have to say that you evolutionists are a big hindrance to scientific advancements. I dare have to say most branches of science were started by those who actually believed in a creator, who acknowledged and understood that there was a creator, and realized that science is what helps us realize the fingerprint of God, the Lord, in His creation, and that the universe is run by laws, and those are the laws that we establish for science, and that's the science we use to develop our technology, called observational science. But if you want to talk about historical science, that has nothing to do with technological advancements. It all has to do with belief and egotism.
What's the worst case of fundamentalism you've ever encountered? In my own life? Not online? A girl when I was in grade 11.
Okay. I dare have to say that, yeah, people, you tried to say that, oh, you were surprised at her, she was driving you insane or such. What if I dare say she was actually right, and she was standing up for the right stuff, okay? Fundamentalism, I dare say that only goes for stuff in the church, and it doesn't go for any other religion, okay? Fundamentalism, that word, was only for those who went to a Bible-believing church and actually believed the Bible was the Word of God, and actually defended it awesomely, I dare say. The worst case of fundamentalism I've ever encountered is when Saul Rosenberg made a video dealing with denialist nonsense, and coming out rather wild, angry, silly, rude, gutter talking and really not reasoning with anything and just getting everything wrong about what I said. I was saying, no, you're getting it wrong. I got to make a response about this, but I was afraid to because I wasn't ready back then to show my face on YouTube. So that's all I got to say to the worst case of fundamentalism I ever encountered.
All it was, claim, no source.
Okay, if someone tries to talk about creation in their classroom, they can only cite the source if they're using visual aid, like on a screening, okay? They can't bring the sources with them. Even if she had the source, it would be difficult to bring up. Like, all things are put together. Like, I like telling jokes, for example. A lot of jokes, and people try to say, cite your sources. I say, I can get them from a lot of places. Magazines, TV shows, books. It's hard to name them all, okay? But I dare have to say that evolutionism is claim, no evidence whatsoever. They just assume that evolution happened, which evolution is a fairy tale, and they ignore the evidence that has been refuted for over the past 50 years, and that those lies are still in the textbooks. In your face.
What is God? What do you think believers think God is? I think most believers, in terms of talking with them, seems to be no agreed upon thing of what is God among them. That's the funny thing. They all seem to have different interpretations, different opinions on what it's supposed to be, which is, I guess I got a tinge of agnosticism to me because
Well, if you're trying to say different interpretations, if you're trying to say that Jews, Christians, and Muslims all worship the same God, I'm going to have to say you're going to have to stop bringing up that nonsense, okay? The Muslims have a totally different God than the Jews and Christians, okay? And you just say, there's a lot of interpretations and such. I dare say true Christians read their Bible and understand that God is a spirit, okay? And he created us in his image, which meaning he gave us a spirit to have rational and moral strategics and understanding things around us. Okay, and yes, people would like to draw pictures of God showing him with an old man with a beard in the sky. That's not what he is. He's a spirit. Just read the book of John. John 4:24. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
What makes you feel that there is or isn't a God? What makes me feel that it isn't a God? Evidence. Just evidence. And observations of human nature and realizing that all the arguments for a human...
Okay, evidence. No, the evidence you're relying on, I already made a video of that. There is no evidence for evolutionism. It's just wishful thinking and years of made-up, refutable lies to support evolutionism, which supports atheism, which supports egotism, which supports anarchy and such. I have to say, that's all the thing. Like, evidence has actually drawn us closer to God. Louis Pasteur, one of the creation scientists, said that science brings people closer to God. And I dare say evidence has actually drawn me closer to God. Evidence draws people closer to God, and it's a good thing. A lot of people are giving up going to public schools because they have been dumbed down, and yes, the Department of Education should be getting rid of, especially by Ron Paul.
What scientist has had the biggest impact on me? Carl Sagan, no question.
Carl Sagan was a Jewish guy, was very smart, but he was duped, okay? The scientist that has the biggest impact on me, it would have to be Kent Hovind besides Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton was especially awesome, discovering gravity and such, and rules of laws, and especially. The guy was incredible, especially Kent Hovind. Watching his seminars on science, creation science, all the sources, evidence for a young Earth, dinosaurs are still alive, the Earth is not that old, and that all the lies in the textbooks, the dangers of evolution. I mean, he was amazing. First time I watched him in our science class, I thought, man, I could listen to this guy forever. And I dare say, a lot of people just they don't really watch his seminars, but just downgrade him and give him a dislike without even watching it, when they don't know that all their claims of, what about insects having 4 feet? What about that golden bowl that Solomon made, which is 30 cubits, 30 feet around and 30 cubits around, or 10 cubits across, or such. Just watch Kent Hovind. He's answered all of your questions. So that's all I have to say for this video. Peace out. Keep thinking. Jesus bless you. And TDFN, ta-da for now.